teacher. You're a teacher of all things home ownership. Not only that, you have a wonderful team that bags you from. You can refer people to real estate agents. You can refer. You have underwriters on their staff. You just have a whole team to get people ready for the home buying experience, and that all under one roof of Mortgage Solutions Financial. That's amazing.
Well, and you're right, and I appreciate that. You know, we have, as you indicated, I've had over 30 years in the industry, and I've assembled a great group of realtors that I work very closely with, and have throughout the years. We do all of our underwriting in-house, all of our processing in-house, all of our shipping, our funding, everything else is done in-house. So we have absolute and total control over the entire mortgage loan process, and that makes us very unique. We are not brokers, we are literally bankers. And because of that, we are loaning money that is literally under our control. That gives us a lot more flexibility when it comes to approving somebody. That's the whole reason why we can put veterans into homes with no minimum credit score. That's the whole reason why we can do an FHA loan down to a 500 credit score. Again, we write the rules. We're not doing anything wrong or incorrect. It's just that we write the rules to coincide with the minimum credit requirements that are acceptable and insurable by the federal government, FHA, VA, USDA, even Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
Yeah. And, let's talk about those VA loans, which is the best loan on the planet. If you're a veteran, well-deserved, we always talk about how they well deserve it. If there's anyone that deserves these type of loans, is our people that serve the country and serve the people, so to speak, and especially those that give up their right to really live. If they go off to fight to this country, they may not make it back. And that is an amazing skin in the game that a lot of us probably aren't willing to do. So I think those VA loans are, they did a great thing of allowing those veterans when they come back to basically don't have to have any perfect credit scores. And it's just easy for them to get an amazing house. Bring us up to speed again to those that may be listening saying, oh, wait a minute. My dad's a veteran. We didn't know this. Give us the benefits of being a veteran and getting into the VA loans.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, first off, obviously, thank you. Thank you to any veterans or veterans families, veterans spouses that are watching us or listening to us right now, because clearly that is a sacrifice that so few of us are actually called upon to make. In other words, giving up their freedom for our freedom, which is totally selfless, and I have such admiration for that. A VA mortgage loan is a pretty simple mortgage loan. Quite literally, the Veterans Administration has indicated that a veteran will never have a down payment on a mortgage loan. Ever. There will never be a down payment for a veteran on their mortgage loan. Awesome. The VA mortgage loan is limited to conforming loan limits, which next year will be over $700,000. So that means that a veteran can purchase a home with no money down whatsoever. Now, in addition to that, as a veteran, you also will have no credit score minimum, and that's very important to understand. As a direct mortgage lender, as a direct banker, we follow VA guidelines specifically. And the VA guidelines says that a veteran will never have a minimum credit score. So when you hear these other people putting risk-based parameters on that VA mortgage loan, that's exactly what they're doing. They are creating an artificial parameter so that they can protect their own servicing portfolio rather than actually doing what the VA or the Veterans Administration truly wants, which is putting a veteran into home with no minimum credit score. Mm-hmm. In addition to that, if you are in fact a veteran and you are receiving service-connected disability, 100% service-connected disability means you have no property taxes whatsoever. That's huge. That can actually lower the payment for a veteran even further, perhaps by 20 to 25%, depending on where they choose to live. Now,
So
on
no
top,
property taxes if you're
no
a veteran.
property taxes will be charged to a veteran with 100% service-connected disability.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Now, in
Mhm.
addition to that, if you are a veteran and you have a service-connected disability, but you're not quite to 100%, the local area, the municipality where you buy the house will still offer you some sort of absolution of your property taxes, but it's going to depend on exactly where you choose to live. In other words, Collin County, Grayson County, Dallas County, Tarrant County. Everybody has a different set of circumstances concerning how veterans are going to be taxed with less than that 100% exemption. All you need to do is literally reach out to your local appraisal district, and they will share the information with you. Tell them if you are 60% or 80% service connected, and they'll tell you exactly what your liabilities would be as it relates to your property taxes. But you will receive a discount on your property taxes as a veteran regardless. Now, in addition to that, and this may be the best part of everything, because you're a veteran, you can actually spend up to 30% more on a house and still be approved for that mortgage loan. And that's because the VA will allow us to go up to a 65% debt to income ratio, meaning that 65% of your total gross income can go towards the purchase of that home. In other words, you are able to spend 30% more than anybody else with any other type of loan just because you're a veteran. With that being said, understand this is not the way that most lenders will close a VA loan. Most lenders put their own risk-based parameters in place to protect those portfolios. Whereas at Mortgage Solutions and the Lenders Residential Mortgage Team, we don't put any of that in any risk-based overlays in place to preclude a veteran from becoming a homeowner. And that's the reason why I often talk to veterans who are interested in purchasing homes that have not quite had their credit where they need it to be, and we still end up buying a home together. Now, in addition to all of that, we've talked about the VA mortgage loan and the fact that there is never a down payment. Remember, a down payment is not the same as closing costs. Closing costs will still be applicable on any mortgage loan because closing costs are literally the cost of closing that mortgage loan, whether it's property taxes or your homeowner's insurance or your escrows. In addition to being a veteran, you may also qualify for closing cost assistance, which could truly and literally get you into a mortgage loan with no money, none whatsoever, period. I'm not even $50. It's all a matter of the structure.
Yeah.
So again, we want to ask all of our veterans to reach out to us and certainly at least talk through the process. I'd like to give my number out if I may tonight.
Please. That
telephone number is 972-739-2350, 972-739-2350. You can also find me on the internet. Just go to Lenders Texas, that is LendersTexas.com, or you can find me on Facebook as the Lenders Residential Mortgage Team.
Absolutely. And we're taking calls right now. If you want to call in, take this opportunity, this major opportunity to speak with Rob Stern live, to ask him about homeownership or what you need to do or any questions you have. He's an expert in home ownership, home loans. And I would take advantage if I were you. That number, 972-988-1040. Again, the number to call in live if you have any questions or just want to run something by Rob for his expertise. The number is 972-988-1040. Well, Rob, let's talk a little bit about the tax season that's coming up and all the benefits we as homeowners about to reap during tax season, a lot of us. And we talked about one of the major benefits of owning a home. You get perks. And so one of those is, come tax time, you get to file your house and you might get some, a couple of little good stocking stuffers, post stocking stuffers. So
Yes,
for your
ma'am.
home. So explain that to everybody about one of those benefits of being a homeowner. It just pays you back.
Well, yeah, let's talk about tax time. I think this is a real good conversation for it. So when you purchase a home, you have the ability to write off several things on your income taxes at the end of the year. Each of those items will result in a tax refund. So as an example, you can write off all of your property taxes not to exceed $10,000 a year.
Okay.
You can also write off all of your mortgage interest every year. Those two components in and of themselves could easily provide you $5,000 or $6,000 in a tax refund at the end of the year, depending on how much you earn and what tax bracket you're in. So I know all of us have heard people talk about. Of course, I hear it all the time, but I know that we've all heard people say owning a home is a great tax deduction. It's a great opportunity for you to get money back on your taxes. Well, the truth is, it is the only way that you're going to get money back on your taxes in such a large amount at the end of the year. The government has pretty much curtailed every other tax deduction that we have. So home ownership is a great way to get money back at the end of the year. But I want to talk a little bit more in depth about getting the money back at the end of the year and about these tax returns. There's a lot of people who we work with who are listening or watching us right now that typically get a good chunk of money back at the end of the year. We want to reach out and make sure that if you'd like to become a homeowner, you don't waste that money when you do get your tax return.
Yeah.
Put it aside, because you can use that money to buy a new home with. You can take that money, Tanya, and couple it together with a down payment or a closing cost assistance program and become a homeowner. I think at a certain point in time, and I've got pardon me, I've got children. Well, they're not young children anymore now. They are all adult men, and they're all buying homes. And I think that as we get older, as we age, as we mature, homeownership becomes much more of a priority, it takes on much more of an importance to everybody. It is really critical that you plan for your future, whether you're looking to retire now or 50 years from now. The reality is, a home is a great way to not only build equity for your future life, perhaps your future retirement, but it is, again, no different than creating a standard bank account that you can actually live in, that you can sleep in. You'll continue to gain money on the purchase of your home year after year, month after month, but you got to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere. And like you said, when you get this tax, when you get your tax check, that you ought to be strategizing and planning. That could be, like you said, a part of that down payment for those that are first-time home buyers, because a lot of us, get a foot up during the tax season. We get some money that we've been waiting for all tax season. A lot of people do. And so they do a lot of things with it. So instead of buying a new car, buy yourself a new house, because cars depreciate and they don't give back, but houses do.
You're right. And you can't sleep in your car.
Yeah, you can. I don't know if you want to.
We hope you're not. Right.
Don't know if you want to sleep in that car, but you can.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about first-time home ownership, because it's very sensitive to me. I've only been in my house now, coming up on maybe about, it'll be a year. It'll be 2 years in April.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, so I'm still a newlywed homeowner. And so I like to always encourage people to buy a home as quickly as you're able to get on the road to home ownership. Are there any advantages? I always ask this because I just want to know, and laws change and programs change all the time. Are there any advantages for single moms that may be saying, well, I'm a single mom. I don't think I'll probably ever own a home. I probably more than likely would like to maybe just, rent, because they don't have that second income and they don't make a whole bunch of money. They just probably make enough to, make sure that they have a roof over their head and a car and get their kids to and fro to school. So homeownership sometimes can look a little bleak for them. What type of programs are out here for them?
Well, I do see single parents fairly often because that's just sort of the day and age that we live
It
in right
is.
now.
Mhm.
There are opportunities and programs out there. These assistance programs, down payment, closing cost assistance programs are available for all to use. These are based on credit score. They're based on income. With that being said, I hate for anybody to ever dismiss home ownership because of their income. I
Yeah.
think that there are clearly sacrifices to be made,
Mhm.
but everybody has the right and, in all fairness, the ability to become a homeowner. Perhaps you may need to adjust some of your qualifications or requirements in what you want to purchase as a homeowner, meaning you might have to spend a little bit less money than you'd like to. You may not be able to buy that brand new house in Mansfield that you've always aspired to build,
Yeah.
but that's okay. I mean, that's sort of how life progresses, and I think that's another reason why we should all strive to become homeowners and build that equity up, because quite literally, you buy your first home, you stay in that home for 5 or 6 years, you build up enough equity to where you can put that down payment on the next home. And then you do the same thing and you build up enough equity where perhaps you buy into your third home. And maybe that's that nice home in Mansfield that you want to live in and you aspire to.
Yeah.
I feel like everything in life, Tanya, is achievable as long as we set goals, and they don't have to be realistic goals necessarily. But as long as we set a goal
Gotta go.
and we have something to strive towards, I think anything is possible and anything can happen. I've seen people's lives literally turn over the course of 6 months. In their quest to become homeowners, a new job, a new relationship. I just think that quite literally, with God, all things are possible,
Mhm.
and because
Absolutely.
of that, we should never give up. We should always strive to be our best.
Right, absolutely. And there are a lot of people out here, as well, as it goes back to age as well too. Because I was 49 when I first bought my home. So I don't think you're ever too old, but people can think, I don't want to do a 30-year mortgage at 50 or 60 or 70. But it's not just for you. You may not be here, but if you have grandkids, if you have family members, you keep that wealth in the family to circulate on to the next generation.
No, you're absolutely right, and I think again, if you're trying to find a reason not to become a homeowner, you can always find something. And too often I run across people who try and tell me why they can't achieve home ownership, rather than coming in with a positive attitude as to why they want to achieve home ownership.
Yeah.
Quite literally, everybody can become a homeowner, Tanya. It's not about age, and it's not even about income or credit. It's about desire more than anything. I
There you
feel like, I mean, I've put 90-year-old women into homes before, who just want to have a home to leave to their family when they pass on.
Yeah.
Um, just because you're in a 30-year mortgage loan does not mean you have to stay in that house for 30 years.
Right.
It also doesn't mean that you have to pay it off in 30 years. You may choose to pay it off in 5 years, depending
Yes.
on your income.
Mhm.
So there's different options come with different situations. But the point is, we have to begin the process somewhere. And the whole reason why you and I do this show, and why we've continued doing this show for so long, is because we want people to call us with their questions. We want people to have knowledge and develop a skill set to become a homeowners. As Robert Ashley used to say, we don't want anybody to perish because of a lack of knowledge.
That's
And
right.
and that's exactly where we are. Just call. All they have to do is make one phone call. If it's on the air, that's great, so you can share your question with others. If it's just calling me directly, that's fine as well. I don't mind speaking in private and personal, but just make that one call. That one call can literally change your entire life.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to start somewhere. And when I first started, Rob, I'll just tell you my story. I kept saying that, if I was not at a certain place that I wanted to be in my personal life, then I was going to go ahead and buy me a house. And I'll just, I'm open. I'll just share. If I wasn't married by the time I was 49 and a half, and a half, then I was going to just buy my own house, buy my house. And so that's what I did. I had set a goal. That goes back to goals.
Yes,
Set a
ma'am.
goal.
Yes,
Set
ma'am.
one, even if it's realistic or unrealistic, set a goal. And so that's what I did. And I said, okay, let's move forward. Let's implement this, get into this goal. Let's achieve it. You're not married. Let's go ahead and get a house. And yeah, I love my house. It's the best husband I could have gotten.
Well, I guarantee it won't talk back. I can guarantee you that much.
So yeah, goal setting is very good. What's another thing you could advise people that are contemplating home ownership to do? Goal setting. What's number two?
Yeah, I'd say number two is look at the financial benefit that you can obtain from true home ownership.
Mhm.
Whether it's just the money that you receive back on your taxes as a homeowner, or whether it's a matter of the fact that you now can actually work remotely from your own home, where you can control your own environment. There are so many benefits in home ownership that are literally irreplaceable. And now, of course, with Zoom, I've got relationships all over the country with people who literally work out of their home, and we Zoom back and forth for conversations. I don't want to say I don't use the telephone anymore, because that wouldn't be true. But the point is, remote work has just become very commonplace in every industry.
And it's going to continue to grow. Yeah,
it is, absolutely. And it's really weird. That's the one thing that kind of came out of the coronavirus. Was people being able to work remotely. I think because of this, we've actually seen a huge increase in entrepreneurship and small businesses, people that are choosing to work out of their home. And again, home ownership, in my mind, is the pinnacle of everybody's success. I think that's what we should all aspire towards.
Absolutely. Rob, we got about 60 seconds for you to give us your information on where these folks can contact you, because I know they want to call you off the air, and give them a little advice on what to be looking forward to in the new year if they're going to get a home. About 60 seconds.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. So my name is Rob Stern. My telephone number is 972-739-2350. That's 972-739-2350. You can also find me on the internet. Just go to Lenders Texas. That is LendersTexas. I am more than happy to visit with anybody at any point in time. 2023, what you should aspire to is buying that new home. So many opportunities are opening themselves up. The Federal Reserve raised interest rates again yesterday, 0.5 of 1 percentage point. Do not delay. Do not continue to put off the opportunity that is in front of you. Home prices are starting to decline and soften in several areas. This is the right time to look at home ownership. Today, tomorrow, it doesn't matter when your lease expires. Start with the plan
invites
today.
you to tune in at
All
1
right,
p.m.
Rob.
on
Well, we
Fridays
really
for our
appreciate you being here today. Of course, we'll catch you again on next Friday from 1 o'clock until 1:30. Rob Stern, Mortgage Solutions Financial, right here on Great Gospel Radio, 1040 AM and 106.9 FM, KGGR.
Thank you, Tom. Have a blessed day.
Sunday school,
Bye-bye.
7:15 a.m. Early worship service, 7:50 a.m. Regular Sunday school, 9:30 a.m. Morning worship service, 10:30 a.m.